Today I would like to invite you to listen to the Dhammapada of the Buddha Shakyamuni. 174th verses from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel Thien Thai in the USA. Blind is this world. Few are those who clearly see. As birds escape from a net, few go to a blissful state. At the time of the Buddha, there was a group of monks who practiced near the city of Savatthi. Some people respected the monks deeply and listened to the Dharma with peaceful hearts. Some others were busy with worldly pleasures and did not care about goodness, wisdom, or liberation. One day the Buddha observed the minds of beings with his compassion and saw that many people were living in darkness, although the light of truth was always near them. Their eyes could see forms, but their wisdom could not see impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Their ears could hear many sounds, but they did not hear the Dharma calling them back to the peaceful shore. Their minds chased after fame, wealth, attachment, anger, and endless desires. They lived like travelers walking in thick fog. They thought they understood life, yet they continued creating suffering for themselves and others. Seeing this condition, the Buddha gently spoke this verse to awaken the world. He taught that most beings are blind because they are covered by ignorance. Only a few people truly open the eye of wisdom and clearly see the path leading beyond suffering. The Buddha compared liberated beings to birds escaping from a net. A bird trapped in a net struggles in fear and pain. But once it finds an opening and flies into the sky, it is free, peaceful, and unharmed. In the same way, beings trapped by greed, hatred, and delusion continue wandering in samsara. Only those who cultivate mindfulness, wisdom, compassion, and right understanding can free themselves from bondage and reach the blissful state of liberation. The Buddha did not speak these words to criticize the world. He spoke with boundless compassion because he wished all beings to awaken from illusion and discover true peace within their own hearts. Dear friends on the path of Dharma, this verse is short, but its meaning is vast like the great ocean. Every word carries the fragrance of awakening. When the Buddha said the world is blind, he was not speaking about physical blindness. Many people have healthy eyes, yet they cannot see the truth of life. They see youth, but forget old age. They see health, but forget sickness. They see gathering, but forget separation. They see birth, but forget death. Human beings spend much of their lives running after temporary things while ignoring the precious jewel hidden inside their own hearts. People become attached to praise and become sad because of criticism. They become joyful because of gain and miserable because of loss. Their happiness rises and falls according to changing conditions. This is blindness created by ignorance. Ignorance is like a dark cloud covering the bright moon of wisdom. The moon never disappears, but the cloud prevents beings from seeing its light. In the same way, Buddha nature is always present within all beings, yet ignorance hides this pure nature from us. When we look deeply into society, we can see the truth of the Buddha's words everywhere. Many people wake up early and spend the entire day chasing after wealth, status, and pleasure. Their minds never rest. Even while eating, they worry. Even while resting, they fear loss and failure. Even while surrounded by loved ones, loneliness still fills the heart. The world teaches people to compete, compare, and desire endlessly. Because of this, many hearts become tired and empty. Some people believe that more possessions will bring peace. Some believe power will bring security. Some believe pleasure will bring happiness. Yet when these things disappear, suffering immediately appears. The Buddha compassionately taught that anything born from conditions will eventually change. If we build our happiness on changing things, our hearts will continue trembling like leaves in the wind. True seeing begins when a person stops running blindly and starts looking deeply into life. The practice of Dharma is not meant to make us escape the world physically. The practice helps us escape ignorance within the mind. A person may live in a busy city and still have peace. Another person may live in a quiet forest yet still suffer because of desires and anger. Liberation does not depend on location. Liberation depends on awakening. When wisdom arises, the heart becomes lighter. We begin understanding that hatred never ends hatred. Desire never truly satisfies desire. Attachment always carries fear of loss. Then compassion naturally grows inside us. We become kinder because we understand that everyone is struggling with suffering and confusion. The Buddha compared awakened beings to birds escaping from a net. This image is very gentle and profound. Imagine a bird caught in a hunter's net. It struggles desperately because it longs for freedom. Samsara is like that net. Greed is one thread. Anger is another thread. Pride, jealousy, attachment, and ignorance create many more threads. Together they trap beings in cycles of suffering life after life. Many people do not even realize they are trapped. They think chasing desire is freedom. They think following anger is strength. They think attachment is love. But true freedom comes when the mind is no longer controlled by craving and delusion. A bird escapes because it finds an opening. In the same way, the Dharma opens a path toward liberation. Mindfulness is one opening. Compassion is another opening. Wisdom is another opening. Every moment of sincere practice weakens the net little by little. When a person learns to breathe mindfully, suffering already becomes lighter. When a person forgives instead of hating, a thread of the net breaks. When a person gives instead of clinging, another thread breaks. When a person sees impermanence clearly, attachment begins fading away. Slowly the heart becomes spacious and peaceful. Many people ask why only a few beings reach the blissful state. The answer is not because liberation is impossible. The answer is because most beings continue turning away from the path of awakening. Imagine a clear river flowing beside a thirsty traveler. If the traveler refuses to drink, thirst continues. The Buddha offered the medicine of Dharma freely to all beings, but each person must choose whether to practice or not. Some hear the teachings, but quickly forget them. Some hear them and become inspired for a short time, but later return to old habits. Only a few sincerely practice day after day with patience and humility. These are the ones who gradually transform suffering into wisdom. The blissful state mentioned by the Buddha is not merely a heavenly place. It is the peace that arises when the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion become extinguished. Even in this present life, a practitioner can taste moments of liberation. When the mind no longer clings tightly, peace appears naturally. When anger dissolves, the heart becomes cool and gentle. When compassion grows, joy appears without needing external conditions. This is the fragrance of nirvana already touching the present moment. Sometimes people think spiritual practice is difficult because they imagine enlightenment as something far away. Yet the Buddha often taught very simple practices. Speak kindly, act compassionately, avoid harming others, be mindful of thoughts and emotions, understand impermanence, cultivate gratitude. These simple practices slowly purify the heart. A small lamp may seem weak in a dark room, yet once lit it still removes darkness. In the same way, every moment of mindfulness weakens ignorance. We should not become discouraged when hearing that only a few clearly see. Instead, these words should awaken determination inside us. Every awakened being was once confused. Every peaceful heart once struggled with suffering. The path is walked step by step. A person who sincerely practices each day is already moving toward freedom. Even if progress feels slow, the transformation is happening quietly inside. A seed planted in the earth does not become a flower immediately. It needs water, sunlight, patience, and care. The Dharma also blossoms gradually within the heart. In daily life, there are many opportunities to practice awakening. When anger appears, we can pause and breathe instead of reacting harshly. When desire arises, we can observe it calmly instead of immediately following it. When sadness visits us, we can hold it with compassion instead of drowning in despair. Every difficulty becomes part of the path when viewed with wisdom. The Buddha did not promise a life without challenges. He taught a way to transform challenges into understanding and compassion. The blindness of the world also appears in the tendency to judge others while ignoring one's own faults. Many people see mistakes outside themselves, but rarely examine their own minds deeply. Dharma practice begins with self-awareness. Instead of blaming others constantly, we learn to look inward. We begin asking ourselves whether our thoughts bring peace or suffering. This honest reflection is very important. Without self-awareness, ignorance continues controlling the mind. The Buddha's compassion is limitless because he never gave up on beings trapped in delusion. Even when people insulted him or doubted his teachings, he responded with patience and loving kindness. He understood that ignorance causes people to act unskillfully. Just as a loving parent feels compassion for a sick child, the Buddha felt compassion for suffering beings wandering in samsara. When we cultivate compassion, we begin seeing others differently. Instead of reacting with hatred toward difficult people, we recognize that they too are trapped by suffering and confusion. Meditation is one beautiful way to develop clear seeing. When the mind becomes quiet, we begin observing thoughts and emotions more clearly. We realize that thoughts arise and disappear like clouds moving across the sky. We no longer identify completely with every emotion. This understanding creates freedom. A person who blindly follows every thought becomes a servant of the mind. A person who observes the mind with mindfulness becomes free from its control. The Buddha also taught that good friendship is essential on the spiritual path. Wise companions encourage us to practice goodness and mindfulness. Unwise influences can strengthen greed and confusion. Therefore, practitioners should spend time with people who inspire peace, compassion, and understanding. Listening to Dharma talks, reading sutras, chanting mindfully, and serving others all nourish the seeds of awakening within us. Life passes very quickly. Youth becomes old age. Strength becomes weakness. Wealth cannot stop death. Fame disappears like morning mist. Understanding impermanence helps us live more wisely. Instead of wasting time in resentment and endless craving, we begin appreciating the preciousness of each moment. A cup of tea shared peacefully becomes meaningful. A kind word becomes meaningful. A mindful breath becomes meaningful. Awakening is not separate from ordinary life. Awakening appears when we live deeply and consciously. The bird escaping from the net symbolizes courage as well. Spiritual practice requires courage because it means letting go of attachments that once seemed necessary. Some people cling to anger because they fear vulnerability. Some cling to possessions because they fear insecurity. Some cling to pride because they fear insignificance. Yet these attachments create suffering. Letting go may feel uncomfortable at first, but afterward the heart experiences great freedom. Compassion and wisdom must grow together. Wisdom without compassion can become cold. Compassion without wisdom can become blind attachment. The Buddha embodied both perfectly. He understood suffering deeply and responded with boundless love. Practitioners should cultivate this balance carefully. We help others while also understanding the nature of impermanence and karma. We love without clinging. We care without controlling. The path of Dharma is not about becoming superior to others. True practitioners become more humble, not more proud. The more wisdom grows, the more compassion grows. A tree filled with fruit bends lower toward the earth. In the same way, spiritually mature people become gentle and respectful. They do not boast about practice or look down on others. They simply continue cultivating goodness quietly. Every being possesses the potential for awakening. Even a deeply troubled person still carries Buddha nature. Therefore, we should never lose hope in ourselves or others. Sometimes transformation happens slowly and invisibly. A kind word heard today may blossom in someone's heart years later. A moment of mindfulness practice today may prevent great suffering tomorrow. Nothing wholesome is ever wasted. As we continue practicing, we gradually discover that true happiness does not depend on controlling the world. True happiness arises from understanding the mind. External conditions constantly change, but an awakened heart remains peaceful amidst change. This peace is not indifference. It is deep understanding and acceptance of reality. A calm lake reflects the moon clearly because its surface is undisturbed. In the same way, a calm mind reflects wisdom clearly. The Buddha's verse continues shining across centuries because human suffering has not changed. Although technology advances and societies transform, greed, hatred, and delusion still create pain. Therefore, the Dharma remains deeply relevant today. The teachings guide beings away from confusion toward clarity, away from fear toward peace, away from selfishness toward compassion. Dear friends, let us practice seeing clearly in our daily lives. Let us observe the mind gently and honestly. Let us cultivate kindness in speech and action. Let us remember impermanence whenever attachment grows strong. Let us breathe mindfully when emotions arise. Let us nourish compassion for ourselves and all beings. Step by step, the net weakens. Step by step, wisdom grows. Step by step, the heart moves toward freedom like a bird rising into the open sky. Thank you for watching my video. Namalamitpa. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time.